Welcome to the Carpool Chat, from our house to the State House, the commute nobody ran for. On today's episode of the Carpool Chat, we're going to talk about all things public policy and also Valentine's Day. So to kick us off, I'm State Representative Rachel Rourks, this is State Representative Tina Bojanowski, and I'm joined with Representative Sarah Stalker. So to kick us off today, Tina, there has been several pieces of legislation that we've been chatting about this week. Do you want to start off with two of them?
Well, yes. So probably the most impactful legislation for students with more intensive disabilities is House Bill 562, and that was done by Representative Timmy Truitt, and it's going to develop an alternate diploma for students who are on alternate assessment. So
what does that mean?
Very small percentage of our students who are just, their disability is severe enough that they don't take the regular assessment.
Okay.
But in the way it works now is those students, when they finish school, if they don't take regular assessment, they can't get a diploma.
Okay.
And this alternate diploma would have things they'd have to do, because a lot of our kids are very capable. They just are capable in different ways. And it also has a connection to workforce development.
Ooh.
And so there will be ways that they can transition into maybe a 2-year degree program, or even just get a job, and the employers who will accept these alternative diplomas will be listed on the website.
Well, that's amazing.
So it's a fabulous win. The other bill I filed yesterday is House Bill 621, and it locks in special education caseloads. There is in process a regulation change that would have increased. I'm a special ed teacher. We don't want our special ed kids to be in larger classes or larger groups. So my bill will just lock in the class sizes and the caseload sizes so that our special ed kids can get the best education without just being in larger groups.
Absolutely. And this was one of the things that I'm actually a co-chair of one of our caucuses, the
Right.
Engage and Empower caucus, that focuses on disability advocacy. And I was able to actually reach out to all of our caucus members and let them know about this issue and say, like, if you want to oppose the regulation, here's how you do it. And so we did send letters of opposition, but I'm so glad to see that we actually have some legislation to put into statute what these should be.
And I did want to say this is definitely a bipartisan effort, and more than likely will make it through the Senate as well. So bicameral, I think is that word?
I feel like
for both chambers. So bipartisan, 2 parties, bicameral, both chambers.
Absolutely.
Quick question. What do you think is the optimal number for a classroom size? And let's just not even get into, I mean, you can dive into special education since that's your expertise, but there's always so much conversation around.
When I have a small group, so I'll have resource kids and different kids come in and out, I feel most effective when I have no more than 6. So that might not be a reasonable expectation, but when you have more than 6, they don't fit at your table. You have to have kids doing other things while you're doing direct instruction, unless you have, I don't have a classroom, I have a resource room, so I don't have a desk for each student. So it also depends on the context. So if you have a classroom where every child has a desk and you're providing direct instruction, you might be able to have more kids. But I do best, with 4 to 6 kids.
Yeah, fair. Well, this brings us to our educational component of our show, where we talk about things that happen in the legislature that people might not know. So the bill filing deadline is coming up, and so we do actually have a cutoff for when we can stop filing bills. So Sarah, do you want to share when that is and what the importance of that is for the community and the public?
Yeah, so we have 2 different dates that we're working with. So in the House, the last day for a member to file a bill will be March 4th. And the Senate, it is the 2nd. So we have just a couple of days after them. And I always tell people it's important to pay attention to that filing deadline. One, you want to make sure that your legislation is turned in. But let me talk about a little bit of a misconception that some folks have, is they think once you've passed, say, March 4th, and we get to March 5th, we're like, okay, they think we're in the clear. So there's no more potential bad bills that could potentially be filed. They think, well, the filing deadline has passed. That is not the case. we have something called shell bills, which I will defer to Tina to talk about because she can give some good examples of what a shell bill is.
A shell bill is a bill that isn't intended to be passed as it is. For example, a shell bill was filed today. It was House Bill 640, and it was a bill relating to taxation. And I was like, oh, this will be interesting. What's this all about? I open up the bill. There's not much language there, but the only change is, and I don't remember the exact words, but it said Department maybe of Finance, and of Finance was struck out.
Yeah, so it's some small technical changes.
And sometimes it changes his to his or hers.
Gender.
So what they do with a shell bill is it gets a bill filed before the filing deadline that then can show up under a committee substitute when that bill, whatever they intended it to be, shows up in a committee. So that's a committee substitute.
I always tell people it's like a placeholder. You know, like if you don't have all your legislation drafted, you can just file a bill with a small technical change, and they're easy to flag because of that. There's either gender neutral language or it's a small technical change, and you just know that they are still crafting some legislation, and that can be completely gutted and a whole new set of legislation.
And that's what happened with the sewer bill. So the sewer bill was right before I came in, and it was literally a sewer bill that they gutted. It wasn't a shell bill, but they gutted it. They put in a committee sub that completely revamped the pension system. And it eventually passed, but it was thrown out in the courts because of a logistics process that they didn't follow. So they do follow it now.
Right, and I think it's important to note, like, we're not the only state that does shell bills, and that's why they kind of, there's one for almost every topic. That way it can be adjusted. And then, again, it's up to each individual body every year to do that a certain way so that we can make sure that it is technically legal and meets all the definitions to hold up in a court. But we're not the only state that does shell bills.
Right. And then there's another kind of title for a bill that we give, and this one's called a Christmas tree. And this comes up more at the end of the session. And a Christmas tree is just like you've got a tree loaded with decorations. You take a bill and you just load it with all kinds of different things. And these bills will often have a title change because the title of the bill has to represent what's in the bill. Right. So, sometimes we'll have an act regarding education. Well, that could be just about anything. So those Christmas tree bills, when we get to the end of the session and a bill they want to have go through may not have made it yet, they'll stick it onto another bill. If you do that, it's sometimes called a piggyback. So that's just another term. So, these Christmas tree bills, for the most part, our bills stick to a topic as we go through the session, but you really have to watch out for disparate things happening in bills when we get near the end of the session.
Another thing to point out about the Christmas tree bills is not only does it happen at the very end of session when everybody's just trying to get their bills across, right? So they're just kind of hodgepodging, throwing things together, broadening those titles, right, so that everything can technically fit underneath it. But what I hate about that is that you get, what might have been a 3-page bill, and then all of a sudden it's 63 pages because you have so many topics in here, and sometimes we don't even have enough time to review it. And sometimes there's good stuff in there, but then there's stuff in there that you're like, I don't like. So trying to vote.
Sometimes that's the power struggle between the chambers. So, like the House may pass a bill that it really, really, really wants to have passed.
Yep.
And the Senate may want something passed that we don't want to pass, so they stick it in our bill that we really want to pass, and then when it comes back to us, we either have to accept their changes, or we have to, the sponsor could pull the bill, that's happened before, or we have to accept it with something we don't like in it.
Yep.
So.
And I think at the end of the day, it's supposed to encourage compromise at that point, but it doesn't always work so neatly in that
Sometimes it's a power struggle.
Absolutely. So, this week is Valentine's Day, or my other favorite holiday of Galentine's Day, which I do believe stems from a Parks and Recreation episode with Leslie Knope, one of my favorite fictional characters.
I don't know, but I hope so.
I think it does. I feel like it was all around that time, really coming up and becoming more popular. So this has led to today's, carpool question of Valentine's Day. Do you love it or do you hate it? Sarah, lead off, Sarah.
Okay,
And
I'll
we know
lead
you
off.
have. We know you have opinions.
I have opinions. I'm not afraid to share them. I'm not a fan of Valentine's Day.
Say more.
I do appreciate like all the discount chocolate afterwards.
Sarah likes a good sale.
I love a good deal, and I love chocolate. That is my weakness. That being said, though, it just feels too cliche for me, and it also feels like there's so much weight to be like, this is it, this is your one day. And then it makes people feel bad, you know, because they feel like if I don't have somebody, not everybody, but it can make some people feel bad. And so people over the years have always said like, oh, what are you and your husband doing for Valentine's Day? And, you know, this and that. And I'm like, nothing. And people are like, what? I'm like, we don't do like big things for Valentine's Day. We don't even do really big things for our birthday, you know. And some people are kind of horrified by that. But I'm like, first of all, every day I love my husband, and every day he does little acts of things that just make life with him really easy and appreciative.
Aww.
And so to put everything on one day is just, it's too much. It's too much like pressure too for people.
Right. What about you, Tina?
Well, I don't have a Valentine, so.
I'll be your Valentine.
Aw, you're so sweet. So, I mean, I'm just kind of indifferent, right? It's just, my mom will usually get us little treats, and so I probably should be a better mom and get some for my kids as well, but I haven't done that for a while, so. Yeah. How about you, Rachel?
Well, I love Valentine's. I love. Back when my husband and I, high school sweethearts, so I used to call his mom and say like, I want to come and like decorate Derek's room and like while he's away and surprise him.
His room.
Yes, and so I like have a long history of making him really like Valentine's Day, and there's been many stories over the years. But what has become our tradition since getting married is just, I get a charcuterie board, we buy it from a local business, and then he goes and picks it up. That's his job. He goes and picks it up, and we sit there and we devour the whole thing, and that's like our thing.
Aww.
And that way we don't have to go fight a crowd.
Right.
I might make chicken Alfredo, because I'm really good at that. I make homemade Alfredo.
But that's the other thing too, is like everybody feels the need to run out, get a reservation, and then you feel rushed. Like, I'm not a big fan of going out to dinner, just in general, because I don't want to feel rushed. I would much rather order in or cook something. I'm not gonna cook it. My husband's gonna cook it. I mean, I can cook, I just choose not to. I have other things that how I spend my time. And have people come over, right? Because then you're just kind of in the comfort of your home. You don't feel rushed to like for the next person who, you know, needs to get in for their reservation, and you can just really relax and take your time.
Absolutely.
But where do you like to go in your district to eat? Like, either if you were gonna go out for someplace for Valentine's Day, or if you're just like, I'm too tired to cook.
Well, I have to say the BA Colonial is kind of like one of my go-to spots. I like their buffalo cauliflower. I like the fried pickles.
I need to go there with you. You talk about that place all the time.
I'm a big fan of Colonial Gardens, and the Iroquois Neighborhood Association worked really hard to fight for historical preservation on that property. So every chance I get to bring people to the restaurants that are there, I love doing it. And I also love buying local. So all of my favorite things in one place, and bringing people to the South End and trying to dispel any misconceptions. Those are all my favorite things. What about you, Tina? Where do you like to go?
My favorite place is to go to Grammy's house. My mother cooks for us.
That sounds delicious.
There's a pretty good deal for my son. He lives with me, and he helps to support the cost of the food, and Mom fixes meals and brings them over. And so we have dinner every Friday, and then Sunday at her house, and she brings over meals at least once a week addition to that. So Grammy's house is my favorite place.
That's a sweet spot to go. There's a lot of good places in my district, but I think the place that we tend to frequent the most is Simply Thai.
Ooh, yeah.
So I love just like a good pad Thai dish. Like, there's nothing fancy about it. I can't do the heat, but like it's just such an easy like win in our house.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's where we like to order out from.
Well, what I love about this new Galentine's Day tradition is that so many like women groups have come, like just girlfriends come all together and kind of do all the things that maybe like their partner doesn't want to do, and just celebrates each other and their friendship. And I've been to a lot of really fun parties under that theme, so I thought it would be fun today to surprise you all.
We're gonna have a little party right here.
Little party with Galentine's Day scrunchies, and you all get to pick out your favorite color.
Oh, well, yellow, definitely. It's my color.
Tina, I was going to go for that one.
Well, do you want the yellow one?
No, I'm not
I
going to
also really wanted the yellow one.
Happy Galentine's Day.
There's a cell phone in here. Can I have that?
You can have my cell phone.
That's
Just because you lost your cell phone last week
right.
doesn't
I
mean you
might
get
need
mine.
a backup. I'll take this neutral. That feels good.
Oh, that is
A
so
neutral.
sweet.
I do approve of the quality of these scrunchies, so
Happy
you can think of
Galentine's
me.
Day.
How
Rachel.
darling.
Absolutely. Well, happy Galentine's, friends. And lastly, I wanted to share that we have e-newsletters that we do every week, typically, especially during session, that our lovely interns often help with. So shout out to the interns.
Yes, we really appreciate it.
We appreciate it. And but you have to go onto our LRC page. You have to look us up by name and click join my mailing list.
Right.
I can only send you emails if you join my mailing list.
That's right.
So please do so, because we want to talk to you. So do
And
that.
keep in mind this, and I think it tells you this when you sign up for it, but I think it cannot be overstated. Something for people to know is that if you do sign up for my email newsletter, it's not going to come from sarah.stalker@kylegislature.gov, right? If I send you something, that it's going to come from there. But if you're signing up for the newsletter, it comes from HD for House District 34. So it's HD and then your number, right? So I think that throws people off sometimes, and I wonder if it gets caught in people's spam.
Well,
you know?
check your spam.
Check
'cause
your spam.
we want to talk to
If
you.
you subscribe.
Yeah, we could just be hanging out there.
We want to make sure you're getting the communications.
And what are we dedicated? Who supported us today?
So today, we are sponsored by Doing the Dishes, because nothing says love like doing the dishes for your partner.
Oh, I'll have to tell that to my children.
Absolutely.
I'll add to my kids too.
Thanks again. We'll see you next week.